The streets of Antwerp are rocked by grenade explosions, houses are sprayed with AK-47 bullets, and Molotov cocktails are hurled at buildings, often accompanied by threatening messages left at the scene. There are several underlying reasons behind these violent attacks. One motive is that rival gangs aim to deflect law enforcement attention towards their opponents, thereby avoiding scrutiny for their own drug-related activities. Another reason is the use of intimidation tactics to coerce people, such as port employees, into facilitating drug extraction from container terminals. When drug seizures occur without media coverage, gangs may suspect that the contraband has been stolen and resort to attacking individuals at their homes or businesses. In one of the recent attacks, an individual suspected of being a drug kingpin had shots fired at the home of his family members through a garage, presumably from an AK-47. Unfortunately, the garage also housed a living area, and a young girl was caught in the crossfire and tragically shot. Despite efforts from a nearby neighbor who happened to be a former police officer, the girl could not be revived. Thus, this incident marked the beginning of a new phase of escalation in the ongoing drug war. In criminal drug gangs, a single murder can sometimes trigger a cycle of revenge killings. When a member of a gang is killed, it is not uncommon for other members to seek revenge against those responsible. This can lead to a back and forth cycle of retaliation, where each side seeks revenge for the previous act of violence, leading to an escalation of violence. In this cycle, revenge killings can be seen as a way for gang members to restore their reputation and assert their dominance. Failure to respond to a murder or perceived act of disrespect may be seen as a sign of weakness and can undermine the gang's power and authority. As a result, the cycle of violence can continue and escalate as each side tries to prove their strength and dominance over the other. Although the family of the deceased girl has stated that they are not seeking revenge, if they were actually planning to retaliate, it would be prudent not to disclose this information publicly. The Netherlands is currently experiencing a rise in organized crime known as the macro mafia, which involves murders of journalists, targeting of crown witnesses who testify against them, and even government officials. Unfortunately, this phenomenon is spreading towards Belgium. It was discovered that a group of Dutch criminals had been dispatched to kidnap or potentially murder our Minister of Justice, Vincent van Quickenborne. Law enforcement officials arrested multiple suspects in the vicinity of the minister's residence, and upon searching their vehicle, an automatic rifle, straps, and a can of gasoline were found. Now this escalation is probably related to the SkyECC, a service mostly used by criminals to communicate with each other, and these messages get encrypted within the service. And thanks to the service being cracked, about 1,400 criminals were arrested and over 100 million euros confiscated. So, it's likely that the drug mafia is getting anxious over this. What makes this region attractive to drug cartels? The port of Antwerp is one of the busiest ports in Europe and the world, with millions of containers passing through it every year. While efforts are made to scan as many containers as possible for drugs, the sheer volume of containers and limited resources mean that not all containers can be scanned. Time is a critical factor in the shipping industry, and delays can be costly. Scanning every container can cause significant delays in the shipment process, which is not desirable for importers, exporters, and shipping companies. As a result, authorities must balance the need for security with the need for timely shipping. Europe lacks a dedicated drug enforcement agency that focuses on combating drug-related crimes. Furthermore, even for serious offenses such as murder for hire, prison sentences are considerably shorter, and early release may be granted after serving only a portion of the term. Legalizing all drugs has the potential to bring about various positive impacts on society. One of the most notable benefits is improved public health. By regulating and controlling drug production and distribution, governments could ensure that drugs are safe and of known quality. This would reduce the risks of addiction, overdose, and exposure to toxic substances. Additionally, by treating drug addiction as a public health issue rather than a criminal one, individuals would have better access to treatment and rehabilitation programs. Another potential positive impact of drug legalization is the reduction in drug-related crime. With legal avenues for obtaining drugs, there would be fewer incentives for drug cartels and gangs to engage in violent activities associated with drug trafficking and the black market. This would lead to a safer society and a reduction in violent crime. Legalizing drugs could also lead to increased tax revenue for governments, which could be generated through taxes on the sale of drugs. This could provide significant economic benefits and reduce the need for spending on law enforcement and incarceration. Lastly, drug legalization could help to improve human rights, particularly for marginalized communities, by reducing the number of people incarcerated for drug offenses and treating addiction as a health issue. Individuals with drug problems could receive the treatment and support they need without facing legal consequences. This would reduce the stigmatization of drug addiction and improve overall social welfare. Legalizing all drugs could lead to several negative impacts on society, which should be taken into consideration before any decision is made. Firstly, increased drug use and addiction could be a significant concern. By making drugs more widely available, legalization could lead to an increase in drug use and addiction rates, which could have negative impacts on public health, social and economic outcomes, and overall quality of life. Additionally, legalization could create health risks and safety concerns such as increased drug overdoses, exposure to toxic substances, and dangerous driving under the influence of drugs. While legalization could reduce the amount of violent crime associated with drug trafficking and the black market, it could also lead to an increase in organized crime that seeks to profit from legal drug sales. Legalizing drugs could also impose significant economic costs on society, including the need for increased healthcare resources and social services, as well as regulation and enforcement costs. Finally, legalization could stigmatize drug use and make it more socially acceptable, leading to the normalization of drug use and potentially harmful societal effects. Overall, while there are potential benefits to legalizing drugs, policymakers should carefully consider the potential negative impacts on society and public health before making any decisions. So what are the politicians planning? Who gets caught with hard drugs could face a fine of up to 1,000 euros. Bigger fines alone may not be the most effective way to discourage drug use. Those who want to use drugs will be a lot more careful when doing so, in the comfort of their own home or at a friend's place, to avoid getting caught out in the open. Instead, a more effective approach to reducing hard drug use would involve a combination of prevention, education, treatment, and support programs that address the root causes of addiction and promote recovery. This may include providing access to evidence-based treatment options, such as medication-assisted treatment, counseling, and support groups. By addressing the underlying factors that contribute to drug use and addiction, individuals may be more likely to recover and maintain sobriety, leading to long-term positive outcomes for both the individual and society as a whole. There has been a proposal to create a specialized team, the Port Corps, to increase the number of personnel guarding the vast area of the port of Antwerp. The primary focus of the team will be to prevent unauthorized individuals from gaining easy access to the port to extract drugs, whether through the assistance of corrupt port employees or by scaling the property's fences. The Port Corps will be responsible for conducting arrests, questioning suspects, and implementing measures to secure the port premises. The war on drugs is a complex and ongoing issue, and there is no easy solution to this problem. It's difficult to make a blanket statement about the success or failure of the war on drugs in any country, including Belgium. The war on drugs is a complex issue with many different factors at play, and there is no easy solution to the problem of drug use and drug trafficking. Belgium, like many other countries, has faced challenges in addressing drug use and drug trafficking. The country has implemented a number of measures to combat drug-related crime, including strict drug laws, increased enforcement efforts, and expanded drug treatment programs. However, despite these efforts, drug use and drug-related crime continue to be significant problems in Belgium. There have been criticisms of the Belgian government's approach to drug policy, with some advocates calling for a shift away from criminalization and towards harm reduction strategies. The country has taken steps in this direction. However, there is still debate over the best approach to tackling the issue of drug use and drug trafficking in Belgium. In short, while it's clear that the war on drugs in Belgium has faced significant challenges and has not yet solved the problem of drug-related crime, it's difficult to make a definitive statement about whether it has been lost or not. The situation is complex, and there are no easy answers.